everybody, this is RN Tracy 2MD, and today I just wanted to have a fun way to approach heart block. And so we're going to be using the scandalous heartbreak to learn about some heart block. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Scots. I'm not too familiar with them. I'm just learning just because of all these videos that have been flooding my timeline. But we have Christy Scott and we have Desmond Scott, and nothing on either of them in this discussion. I'm just using them to represent parts of the ECG. And so I'll be using Christy Scott as the P wave and Desmond Scott as the QRS complex. And again, this is not meant to be a reflection of their actual relationship. It's just I'm just trying to use the scandal to help you learn about heart block. And so this is not meant to be some type of gossip channel or anything like that, but if I can use some kind of gossip to get people to understand something about the heart or about anything really, I'll do that. So it's just supposed to be a little bit of fun. And so before we get straight into heart block, I want to go back and talk about a little bit of basic physiology about how electricity is conducted through the heart. So let's do that first. So we're just going to get started here with an animation of the heart, and it's going to be showing the conduction of electricity throughout the heart starting at the SA node. And the SA node is going to be located here in the right atrium. There are two atrium, but it's going to be starting in the right atrium, and it's going to have pacemaker cells. And so that means that depolarization, it's going to go from a negative to a positive charge because of incoming calcium. That is going to be happening spontaneously so that it maintains its own rhythm all the time. And so this electricity is going to be conducted from the right atrium directly into the left atrium. So they're going to contract at almost the same time, but not exactly, but almost the same time. And so this electricity is also going to be conducted down in through the septum here, but it's not going to be allowed to do it right away. And what's going to stop it is this right here, which is the AV node. The AV node kind of says to the rest, to the impulse, like, chill out, don't go too fast into the ventricles, because the atria need time to fully contract, and then it can go into the ventricles. So this AV node kind of stops it there, slows it down, and once it's ready, then it can go down the bundle of His and then go into the bundle branches. So you have the left one here, you have the right one here, and as you see, it's going to go down and break up even further into the Purkinje fibers. Once it reaches those fibers, then it's going to allow it to go to the myocytes of the ventricles, and that's how the ventricles are going to contract. So now let's see what this looks like on the ECG strip. So now we're going to pretend that we're right here at the apex of the heart. So that's usually where lead 2 sits, and that's the one that we usually look at for the most part. And so you're right here and you're looking up at the atrium. And so what's going to be happening is, because since it's depolarizing, we're going to be getting an overall positive charge coming down this way. And so if you're seeing that positive charge coming towards you and you're the electrode right here, you're going to have it's going to be represented by a positive deflection. And that's what always happens when a depolarization is happening towards the electrode. And again, here you have an even bigger one, just because that's going to be when the ventricles are contracting or when the ventricles are depolarized. And so you have an even bigger one to represent the magnitude of the contraction. And so that's what's happening over there. And then we'll work our way throughout the rest of the ECG strip. So again, as we're working our way through the ECG, so we've moved on from the P wave and now we're at the PR interval. And you see there, it's going to have an isoelectric line. So it's going to be flat, because what's happening there, like I said, the AV node is going to say chill out and let's wait. And so that waiting is going to show as like nothing is happening on the ECG strip. And so that should only be lasting a max of 200 milliseconds. And so if it goes beyond that, we run into some problems, and that's what I'll be explaining with the heart block with the Scots. So we're almost there. We're going to be explaining how that drama relates. So we'll keep working our way through. And so right now we're looking at the QRS complex. And like I already kind of talked about, we're looking at it from right here. And so we're having the depolarization coming towards us. And so it's a bigger structure. It's going to have a bigger magnitude. And so it's going to be positive, bigger magnitude than the P wave. But yeah, you're going to see a positive deflection over there, and that's what's there. The end of the ECG segments, and so right now we're going to talk about the T wave, or the ST segment, and the T wave. And so if we see here, we see another positive deflection, and let's think about that. Why is it that now there's going to be a positive deflection? So the T wave is going to be representing ventricular repolarization. So whereas before, when we were coming down and we were talking about depolarization, so a positive impulse towards the electrode, now we're talking about a negative impulse, because we're going back to our negative setting and it's going away from the electrode. And so that's going to be showing still a positive deflection, because it's negative and negative. So a negative something moving away, and it's going to be showing as positive. So that's what that positive deflection is there. So that's the ventricular repolarization. And now on to the fun part, where we include the Scots. All right, now for the fun part, where we get to tie in everything we've learned with the Scott drama. And so right here, we're going to have the P waves. The P waves are going to be represented by Christy Scott. And then we're going to have Desmond representing the QRS complexes. And so in heart block, there's going to be an issue with conduction from the AV node, from the SA node to the AV node. Like I showed you before, the AV node kind of makes it so that it can tell the ventricles to chill out and wait for the atria to contract before it goes down to the ventricles. But what if there's an issue, and so that conduction is slowed down? And that's exactly what's represented by this longer PR interval here. And so before, I was saying it should be less than 200 milliseconds. It's going to be a little bit, or can be a lot longer than 200 milliseconds. And so I want to break down how we can use this situation to understand or really easily remember first, second, and third degree heart blocks. So in first degree heart block, we're going to have a P wave. So we have Christy here. She's waiting at home for Desmond. And then we're going to have Desmond represented by the QRS complex. And so Christy's always there, and Desmond always, eventually he comes home, but always later, much later than Christy. So that's how you can remember the first degree heart block. You always have a PR wave. You always have a P wave followed by a QRS complex. But the QRS complex is always late. So that's the first degree heart block. So Christy's waiting at home. Desmond is always late, but we don't know what he's doing. So this is early on in the relationship drama. He's coming home late, but we don't know what he's doing. So second degree heart block, you're going to be having Christy represented by the P wave again. You have Christy who's waiting at home, and she's always waiting longer and longer before Desmond ends up coming home. So you're going to see here the PR interval is going to get longer, until just one day Desmond just doesn't show up. And that happens all the time. So it's going to repeat itself. So they're going to make up, and then he's going to come home a little bit earlier, then he's going to take longer again, then he's going to take longer again, and then he doesn't come home. And it's the same cycle all the time. And that's going to be your second degree heart block type 1, or Wenke Bach, or you can call it Mobitz. And you might have also heard longer drop, then you have a Wenke Bach. And so I haven't made any of these concepts up myself. I'm just using the Scott situation to make it more interesting. Okay, and then you have second degree heart block type 2. And so in this situation, you're going to have Christy who's waiting at home, and it's not like Desmond is not coming home all the time. So like Christy is waiting at home, and then Desmond will come home. He'll come home, and then all of a sudden he'll decide, I don't feel like coming home. And then he'll come home, and all of a sudden he'll decide, I don't feel like coming home again. And so that is going to be your second degree heart block type 2. So he's coming home, and all of a sudden randomly he decides he's not going to come home. So that's going to be second degree heart block. All right. Okay, and so third degree heart block is right before they're about to basically get a divorce, or a complete separation, just because they're no longer working together. So Christy, she said, you know what, I'm gonna mind my own business because Desmond's not even coming home all the time, but I'm still gonna do my own thing, and so I'm still gonna come home all the time at the same time. And so it's still going to be a consistent P wave coming home. The P wave's coming home, so Christy's coming home same time every time. Maybe it's like 6 o'clock. She's always coming home. But Desmond, he's doing his own thing, and now he's going by his own rhythm, so it's not associated with Christy. So sometimes when Christy comes home, Desmond's not necessarily going to come home, and so that's going to be your third degree. So they're not even listening to each other. They don't care what each other's doing. They have their own rhythm going on, so they're just living their best lives by themselves, and yeah, they're not really minding what each other's doing. And that's basically it. At that point, you're in heart block, nobody's listening to each other, and that is how you can use the Christy and Desmond Scott situation to remember your heart blocks. So before we end off, I just wanted to make sure that I made it really clear what I'm talking about, and sometimes my mouse was at the wrong place, so just disregard where my mouse is going right now. I'm just talking over the previous video that I just recorded. But in first degree heart block, you're going to have the P wave that's always coming a little bit too much more early than the QRS complex, but it's always going to be happening at the same time. So that PR interval, it's going to be long, yes, but it's always going to be followed by a QRS complex. And then when we go into second degree heart blocks, the two different secondary degree heart blocks, the difference is it's not always going to, the P wave is not always going to be followed by a QRS complex. So I'm using Christy in that situation. So in first degree, Christy comes home. Even though it's taking long for Desmond to come home, he always comes home. So if she's coming home at 6 o'clock, every day he's coming home at 8 o'clock. First degree. Second degree type 1, Christy is coming home herself. She's coming home at the same time. But the distance between the time she and Desmond come home is always increasing. So she'll come home at 6 o'clock, he'll come home at 8. The next day she comes home at 6, he's coming home at 9. The next day coming home at 6, but he's coming home at 12 p.m. And then eventually he's just not even coming home that day. So that is second degree type 1. So it's not always going to be followed by QRS complex, and that PR interval is progressively getting longer. So there's a change in the PR interval. So the difference between type 1 and type 2 is that in type 2, it's not like the PR interval is getting longer and longer. So that PR interval is long, and it's taking longer for Desmond to come home, but it's always the same time. So for instance, Christy's coming home at 6, Desmond's coming home at 8. Christy's coming home at 6 the next day, Desmond's coming home at 8. And then all of a sudden one day he's just like, okay, I'm not gonna come home, but just randomly. So it's not like it's longer drop. It's just long drop. Long drop. That is your second degree heart block. And then in third degree, that's when everything's just kind of all mixed up. So you have Christy who's she's coming home every day at 6 o'clock. But all of a sudden now, Desmond just really does not care what Christy's doing. Like, he's just coming home at any which time. He's not following her to come home. So he's coming home at his own time every day now. He's coming home at maybe 8 p.m. So she's coming home or not 8 p.m. He's just coming home at his own rhythm. So I just want to make that more clear, just because sometimes I think I was pointing at the wrong thing, just because I'm not super used to the technology or like making these videos by myself. But I'm learning, so hopefully you guys are enjoying them and I'm getting better. So I hope you enjoyed me using this fake gist about Christy and Desmond. Just like I said in the beginning, I don't really know them that well. I didn't watch their TikToks. I just got TikTok recently, so I'm just learning about what their situation is from my feed on YouTube. But yeah, whatever I'm talking about, it's not really true about their own situation. I'm just using it to explain ECG strips. So don't take that too seriously. It's just to help you guys remember heart block, essentially. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the creativity there. And I hope you like this and share with your friends if you know that they're also trying to learn about heart blocks. And hopefully I'll continue to make more videos just like this, but I'll get better at them, I hope. All right, see you guys later. Bye.